Good to have you on today's newspaper headlines on ACNNTV. Rest assured, we're here to serve you the headlines from some selected newspapers. I am Charles Philip Wakalam. We begin with this day newspaper. All right, you won't be surprised if COVID-19 is not leading the stories. Presidential task force links Kano deaths to COVID-19. That is as this day leads today's dailies. All right, the kicker says 170 new cases move tally to 2,558 with 400 discharged, 87 dead. NCDC seeks access to remdesivir for treatment of patients. Okay, speaks with NAFDAC to facilitate approval for use. Cautions against use of hydroxychloroquine. Cloth mask can offer 80% protection, says U.S. study. Handlers of Abakari's body test negative. Dangote Foundation sponsors 400 tests per day laboratory in Kano. Alright, as you see in the picture, enhancing the fight against coronavirus disease 2019, that's COVID-19. Kano State's Governor, Mr. Abdullahi Ganduje, by the left, and Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Aliko Dangote Foundation, Ms. Zori Yusufu, during the handover of COVID-19 testing lab donated by the foundation in Kano yesterday. Aisha Abakari pays tribute to her father. That's a story on the back page. All right, let's move up above the lead story. Federal government targets October deadline for Oronsaye report implementation. EFCC, ICPC, CCB to survive measure plan. Fiscal Responsibility Commission, NAPEP, orders to go. Our story is from this story is from the front page, continued on page 30 of this day newspaper. All right, above my said now, Fidelity Bank reports 6.6 billion naira first quarter profit, reassures stakeholders. All right, The Economist ranks Nigeria high on financial strength. The Economist ranks Nigeria high on financial strength. Finally, CBN and Bankers Committee suspend layoffs in banks. That story is on page 5. With that, I move straight to the Guardian newspaper. Mass sacking in banks averted as CBN wades in. You see that story from front page. It's continued on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. All right, doctors, pharmacists disagree over easing COVID-19 lockdown. That's a story on page 6 as well, but it starts from the front page. PDP reps caucus urges Buhari to reverse decision. And another story on page 3. PDP accuses Buhari of abandoning Nigerians over COVID-19. Ogun extends lockdown to May 9, page 7. All aboard. steering Nigeria's COVID-19 action train. Stories on pages 28 and 29, yes. Alright, that's all I can take from. Okay, I can see COVID-19 cases in Nigeria. COVID-19 cases in Nigeria. Alright, but I'll move to the next newspaper with me, and that's Leadership newspaper. The Leadership newspaper. Coronavirus. Aso Villa officials, orders at Kyari's burial test negative. Kika say mixed feelings as workers resume today. PDP reps oppose relaxation of lockdown. Sanwo-Olu orders civil servants to work from home. Nasarawa governor shuts assembly as lawmaker dies of coronavirus. COVID-19 responsible for mass deaths in Kano, says federal government, as senior Emirates Council member dies. Taraba discharges 124 persons from quarantine. That story, all the stories can be found on. Let's move down. Emir of Kaura, Namuda Ahmad Asha, dies at 71. Namuda Ahmad Asha dies at 71. And the picture we have here shows United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres by the right. Antonio Guterres by the right, with Deputy Secretary General Dr. Amina Mohammed during his birthday, which coincided with Workers' Day in New York on Friday. The bottom strip stories. NNPC kicks off construction of 200-bed hospital in Bayelsa. Story on page 23. Nigerian doctor involved in US COVID-19 drugs speaks out. You find that story on page 9. NESI loses 8,029 megawatts to gas supply hitches in 48 hours. That story is on page. Niger Delta leaders seek arrest of amnesty program contractors. Page 2. Let's go up above the lead story. CBN Bankers Committee suspend mass sack. JAMB remits 7 billion to federal government. And the leadership also have COVID-19 updates. And as at May 3rd, 2020, confirmed cases is 2,558. Discharged persons are 400, and we have 87 deaths. This is according to NCDC. All right, let's move to the next one. The New Telegraph leads with life returns to Lagos, Abuja after 5-week lockdown. Civil servants on grade 14 and above to resume work. Banks open strategic branches for operations. Workers resident in neighboring states to stay away. Sanwo-Olu markets to open thrice weekly. Alright, some inside stories. 16 health workers infected with COVID-19 in Borno, page 31. Resident doctors begin warning strike in Ogun State, page 28. Kogi medical doctors reject salary cuts, page 28. FMC Abeokuta confirms pregnant woman's death, page 31. Federal government, most Kano deaths caused by COVID-19. That's on page 4. Court shuts Abuja church as pastor, workers flee. Get it on page 31. Bottom strip stories. Governor shuts assembly as lawmaker Emir die of COVID-19. Monarch died in isolation center. Legislators, families quarantined. That's on page 4. And a research work here says nicotine exposure can lead to hypertension. And that story is on page 28. Okay, let's go up now. Just above lead story. CBN Bankers Committee suspend layoffs in banks. Page 4. Illegal mining. Oshun to prosecute 17 Chinese locals. 28. That's on page 28. COVID-19. Why Buhari's lockdown failed. That's by PDP, and you see it on page 4. Lockdown. Police arrest 2,310 violators. Impound vehicles in Lagos. And that story is on page 31. Above masthead now. Tinubu. High interest rates hinder economic development. Asks CBN to lower rates. Spur domestic investment. And finally, on the New Telegraph, IMF facility may not ease pressure on forex markets. That story is on page 22. Let's go for a quick break now. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned.
How do I get tested? If you fall into any of these previously mentioned categories, remain in self-isolation and immediately call your state hotline or the NCDC toll-free line on the screen. The State Ministry of Health, supported by NCDC, will arrange for sample collection and transportation to the lab. Where can I get tested? There are several labs across Nigeria for the testing of COVID-19, and these labs are currently rapidly being expanded across the country to reduce turnaround time from when the samples are taken to when they are tested for the disease. And you can only get tested if you fit the criteria as previously mentioned and a sample has been collected for testing by the state team. What do I do if COVID-19 test is positive? If your result is positive, please do not panic. Many people who have the infection will show mild symptoms and they can recover quickly with just supportive care. And most of the cases recorded till date in Nigeria are mild to moderate and are clinically stable. What do I do if my COVID-19 test is negative? If your result is negative, it means that you are not infected at the time your sample was taken. However, it is still possible to get infected. Therefore, you should continue to practice social distancing. Wash your hands with soap and running water all the time. Use alcohol-based hand rub frequently and clean your environment all the time. Should I come to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control to get tested? No. If you fall into any of these previously mentioned categories, please remain in self-isolation and immediately call your state hotline or the NCDC toll-free line on the screen.
Welcome back, and in case you're just joining, this is newspaper headlines on ACNNTV. Let's continue with Blueprint newspaper. Eased lockdown amid rising cases. Jubilant Nigerians troop out. Experts caution on second outbreak. That's the latest story on Blueprint. Decision ill-timed. Medical workers, others warn. COVID-19 cases stand at 2,388. Deaths 85. We risk further cases, according to residents. 2,310 violators arrested in Lagos. Let's play by the rules, says federal government. 40 interstate yam traders nabbed in Niger. Page 5. Alright, coming down, the picture shows Fidelity Bank's 32nd annual general meeting happened in Lagos on Thursday. NASA returned 788 Almajiri kits. Kaduna orders. Page 14. FCTA seals church violations. That's on page 19. Ogun resident doctors embark on strike over poor pay. Nasarawa lawmakers on self-isolation over members' death. Page 18. World Press Day. 52 journalists killed in 12 months. 50 attacked. That's according to IPI. You see it on page 5. Let's move up. Under the masthead, Nigeria's over-reliance on foreign loans dangerous. Nigeria's over-reliance on foreign loans dangerous, says Tinubu. Says nation's financial system obsolete. Believes foreign reserves at mercy of creditors. COVID-19 opportunity to reduce our interest rates. You see that on page 7. Right after 2 billion naira donation, Dangote gives testing center to Kano State. And finally, lockdown. IGP warns against attack on police. You see it on page 5. Okay, let's go to Nigerian Tribune newspaper. As banks, government offices, public transport resume today, Lagos rolls out 30 new guidelines. Nigerians worry over resumption. Sanwo-Olu imposes 2-week curfew. 50 Almajiris from Kano brought to Kaduna tested positive, says El-Rufai. Nasarawa Assembly shot as lawmaker dies. Most Kano deaths linked to coronavirus. That's according to Presidential Task Force Committee. Pages 2, 3, and 30. Ondo 2020. Aggrieved aspirant want Aragbo Shola to intervene. Osun government arrests 27 illegal miners. Page 31. Akeugba Gold twins regain freedom from kidnappers. CBN Bankers Committee suspend layoff in banks. That's on page 25. Okay, let's go up. Above lead story. Buhari mourns murdered Uniport students. Directs more intense police action. Page 26. On page 28, Fayemi appoints Ekiti Amotekun board members. Tinubu wants CBN to reduce interest rate. Page 4. And above the masthead, killing of 55 journalists covering COVID-19. We need special protection. That's according to the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Story on the front page and continues on page 26. And that's the last headline on Nigerian Tribune. Let me go to the final one. The Business Day newspaper. Nigeria faces battle from within to keep reform promises made to IMF. Okay, that's the lead story in Business Day newspaper. An inside story now. Economic impact of COVID-19 necessitates urgent collaboration between private and public sectors. Story on page 29. All aboard. steering Nigeria's COVID-19 action train. And moving up, Sanwo-Olu's leadership skills come under COVID-19 tests. The fight is far from over. The governor should not rest on his oars. Alright, this is the little we have on the front page of Business Day, and of course this is much you can take for today. Thank you for watching. Until we come your way again, I remain Charles Philip Owakolam. Bye bye.